After the Beyonce concert, it's Jacoby Jones, 8 yards deep in the end zone, bursting free, and he is gone.
Replay later, Dawson is run out of for a touchdown, and the Chiefs led.
The gaping hole in the Chiefs' D7-0, and that was the plan of attack all day long. For another great game here on Saturday in the NFL. And here come the Niners. Look at Kaepernick.
But Eric Walden. We'll talk about Eric Walden. Young number 7. This boy can run.
He goes right through Middleton, goes right through that double team.
3rd and 18, and this is going to write a finish. Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Hello, everybody. This is APBA Brian on the Picks Post Show. Divisional weekend. I'm joined by Rob Kinsler of Rob Exclamation Point, Tim from Cleveland Baseball Fan, and Michael Peterson. Learned a few things this weekend. Well, Miami Dolphins came to Kansas City for Wild Card Weekend, and we learned how fast water bottles can freeze at negative 27 degrees. Also, aquatic mammals can freeze fast, too. Learned that the Dallas Cowboys are still a 1-star operation. And we learned the Philadelphia Eagles secondary does not want to tackle, does not want to cover anybody, and it was die, Eagles, die. We said they were in free fall, and last week they went splat.
Kerplop.
All right, let's get started. We've only got 4 games to talk about. First up on the list are the Houston Texans, and they are 11-7. Saturday, 3:30 ESPN channel. They go to Baltimore to play the number 1 seed. Baltimore is 13-4, favored by 9.5 points. It's supposed to be 26 degrees in Baltimore and wind at 22 miles an hour. It's supposed to be windy. Rob, who's going to win?
Well, welcome back, everybody. Thanks so much for having us back too, Brian and Lori. Man, I'll tell you, this team looked so good, but the Texans this past weekend, they looked really good. They played good defense, good offense, everything in a dome. You're coming outside, 50 degrees colder, 30-mile-an-hour winds virtually, and there's a chance that we may even get a little bit of stuff off the coast there, which that's not going to help at all. If the Texans were going to have a chance, they almost need it to be 50 and sunny. It's not happening. This is going to be a dirty game from the start to the finish. Baltimore, I think, will pretty much have it wrapped up. I think a late touchdown makes it look better than it does. 27-16, but I think it's going to pretty much be a blowout and just, kind of sit around and be like, yeah, well, we figured it was going to happen. I'll take the Ravens.
All right.
And Rob kind of took the words right out of my mouth, but I think that there's no way that the Texans defense plays 2 perfect weeks in a row, nor will they get as many wide open looks down the field, in my opinion. So I'll go with the Ravens.
Michael?
The easy game of the weekend, even though it's a battle against 2 number 1s. Number 1 quarterback in the AFC against the number 1 rookie of the year. But CJ Stroud, you're too young. You're too young for this. You're too young for this. You've had a wonderful year. You get all your accolades and stuff. All you got to do is get a little defense. It's going to be the Ravens 31-10.
All right, they've already played. They played the first week of the season, and Baltimore won that game 25-9. That was C.J. Stroud's first start. Texans are tied with the Buccaneers for the longest odds to win the Super Bowl, though we're down to 8 teams. And Stroud's numbers tend to dip on the road. His first game he lost 25-9 to Baltimore, but a whole season's gone by, and he's grown through the season. Sometimes when new players get to the end of the year, they're grizzled veterans. There was a team one time that when I was athletic director that we played first or second game of the season. We beat them 52-6, and every week we saw that they got better and better. This is high school football, and by the end of the year, they made it to the state championship game to play our team, and we had to convince our players that they could beat us, and they couldn't believe it. I mean, and so guess what? We lost 21-7 to a team we beat 52-6 early in the season. Mm-hmm. So things can change over the period of 1 year, but Stroud's numbers when he is on the road, they do dip. Baltimore is first in the NFL in sacks. They have 60 sacks. Their offense is fourth in the league. Defense is number 1. They're a very physical team, and I think they've got the best linebacker core in the NFL, and Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, and Kyle Van Noy. And they've had a harder road to the playoffs than the Texans have had going through the AFC North. Have you noticed how the best quarterbacks have survived? I mean, you got Allen, Mahomes, Jackson, and Stroud. It's 4 of the top quarterbacks. And then in the NFC, you got Purdy, Hurts made it, Goff, and then Love. Those are they're all easily top 10, or maybe even top 8 quarterbacks. So
no Hurts, Mayfield.
Oh, Mayfield. Yeah, no Hurts.
Mayfield, yeah.
Correct. But he had a top 10 season. Mayfield had his best season ever. And so that kind of makes me think when the draft comes up, those good quarterbacks are going to go early.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm taking it's a clean slate. Everybody's taking Baltimore. All right, the second game is the 7:15 Fox game. That's Saturday night. Green Bay 10-8 versus the San Francisco 49ers, who are 12-5. It's supposed to be 58 degrees and rain. And San Francisco's favored by 10. I think Tim's first, yeah.
Yes, I am first. And there's no way that the Green Bay Packers are going to slice through this 49ers defense like a hot knife through butter like they did with the Cowboys. I'll say 33-13 49ers. Cero miedo.
Michael?
Yeah, here I come. Hold on. Sorry, I have a cat in my hand. It doesn't help sometimes when you have a cat. When you have a cat in your hand. My first phone call.
You got a cat in bars. He's got a cat in bars.
Hello. Yes. Hi, Christian. MCC. I know. This is going to be your day. Keep saying that. That's okay. I'm not stupid. As they say, I was born at night, but I wasn't born last night. Okay? So I'm not stupid enough to go against you. Yeah, later. Yeah. 49ers, the Packers. Oh, well, they played already once this year. Who cares? Jordan Love, yeah, top 10 quarterback. He may be the bottom of the top 10, but yeah, against Purdy. Don't forget, almost all those quarterbacks we got here are number 1 draft picks, except for the man you just saw there, Mr. Irrelevant. And when you have all that, you got to go with Mr. Irrelevant. San Francisco 28, and the other team 16.
Okay, so no cover. Okay.
Okay.
Well, the youngsters from Green Bay, the children went down and they were near perfect against the Dallas Cowboys. Jordan Love threw for 272 yards and 3 touchdowns in his first ever playoff game. He looked to me like a reincarnation of Aaron Rodgers, how he's falling back on his heels, dumping the ball in the breadbasket downfield. We've seen that so many times with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Jones ran for 3 touchdowns against Dallas. And when Laura and I were watching that game, I said, man, it looks like Green Bay is a lot bigger than Dallas. And we had a long discussion about that. And the reason it looked that way, it turns out that Dallas played 6 DBs, 48 out of 54 snaps. A dime defense, 48 out of 54 snaps. That is unbelievable. And that has got to be the stupidest game plan against Aaron Jones I think I've ever seen. People are talking about firing McCarthy. Quinn should go first. Got a lot more to say about that at the end when we talk about coaching at the end of the show.
Yes.
Want a complete list of NFL 7th seeds to win playoff games? Green Bay.
That's it.
That's the complete list.
Yep.
San Francisco has played Green Bay 9 times in the playoffs. The 49ers are 5-4. 49ers offense is 3rd ranked. Defense is 3rd ranked. I'm thinking that maybe San Francisco is not quite as physical as they were 2 years ago, or, this past year. When we were talking about how every time somebody plays San Francisco, they always lost the next week. Not the case this year. But they're hosting at Blue Jean Baby Stadium in Santa Clara their 5th postseason game, and they're 4-0 at Levi Stadium. I think Green Bay is just the next step on the road to the Super Bowl. I'm picking San Francisco.
I don't know if we've ever seen a Green Bay quarterback ever show up like his quarterback did last weekend.
Yeah.
I was so impressed. Me and Darlene sat here and watched that, and we were like, unbelievable. And a lot of it was Dallas's stupid defense, because anytime they were playing that zone or that cross, they were playing the crossing patterns, and 5 guys were playing within 8 yards of the line of scrimmage. And people were just breaking their routes off and just saying, heck with it, I'm going long. And when you're sitting facing the line of scrimmage, catching the ball, you got time enough to catch it and run with it. You ain't getting that this week. 49ers have a real defense. They have a real defense. They are at home, and they travel well too. This could easily. I mean, they could have been playing it on a road game here. I don't care. They could be going to Green Bay here. This is a team that's they've been through the fight this year. Yeah, Baltimore beat them. A couple other teams beat them. They beat them down. This team had a week off. I got a feeling we're going to see a totally different Jordan Love this week. And if we do, this game could be over with at the end of the first quarter. I'm going to be nice about it and say 37-24, but I have my doubts that Green Bay puts 24 on the board. I think this could be a real mauling. It could be 20-plus points. San Francisco, I'll take a home team.
All right, so far we're in agreement on the first 2 games. Next one up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go to Detroit. Tampa Bay is 10-8. This game is at 2 o'clock on Sunday on NBC, 2 o'clock Central Time. And then Detroit is 13-5 and favored by 6 in this game.
Hello? Jerry, you're calling late. Where the hell you been? Oh, I forgot. You kept turning your head yesterday. You kept turning your head. You didn't want to see who anybody was. I know. You know, your team is the biggest joke in the NFL. My team sucks. Your team plays. Yeah. Your team plays. Oh, excuse me. It's my brother. No, I'll call him back. But yeah, but boy, oh boy, they are the most embarrassing team in the NFL. That kind of says much for the NFC's East. You know, you have the wonderful, wonderful Redskins who have to find a new coach. Did they find a new coach yet?
Not yet.
You can't find a coach because they're the Commanders, but that's okay.
Right. But Washington has not hired a coach yet. No.
Then you got Brian, my team. Brian, oh, that ought to be fun. Winky Pooh is gone. He left cursing all the way out the door. And then you have what's his name? Sirianni. Boy, oh boy, Tony Soprano better find him, and he's going to probably find a way to get knocked off real soon. And then who else is left?
Michael,
what?
Focus. The game.
Oh, I know. The game. I know. The game. It's easy. Baker. Tampa. Win. I don't have to say anything much else.
Okay, I think I'm next, actually. Yeah. All right, Tampa's won 6 out of their last 7 games. And it looks like Baker Mayfield has got his swag back. I mean, he's got some banged up ribs, banged up ankle, but he's doing pretty well. Other than that, with the quarterback for Tampa, both teams are nearly injury-free. Philly did not show up last week against Tampa Bay.
Last night.
Yeah, last night against that. That was just the 1-2 with Philadelphia was not there.
Must have been on that flight coming home.
So I don't think that's a fair game to judge Tampa Bay because they basically didn't have an opponent last night. They went through the weak NFC South. So is Tampa Bay the team that beat Carolina 9-0 in Week 18, or the team that can compete with a 3rd seed in the NFC? They played before. Detroit won that game 20-6, and Detroit didn't have Jahmyr Gibbs when they played, and Montgomery only carried the ball 6 times before he went out with an injury, and Jameson Williams only got 16 snaps. So without 3 significant players, Detroit handled Tampa Bay in Week 6 pretty easily. And Jared Goff threw for 353 yards and 2 touchdowns. I kind of think we're going to see some heavy passing again from Detroit because Tampa is pretty good against the run. They're number 5 in rush defense, so we'll probably see Goff putting it up quite a lot. But I'm picking Detroit. I think they'll win this game.
I had to think over a little bit of this game because Jared Goff shows up week to week to week, and you just don't know what to expect. And so does Baker Mayfield. Then I go back and I look and what they've won 6 in a row, right? I think they've won 6 in a row. I'm talking about Tampa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You start a swag like it. You start getting people thinking that you're for real because you don't pick who you play. You just play the 6 in front of you, and they don't beat all 6 of them. I know Detroit's tough team and everything like that. Something tells me Tampa marches in there and beats their ass this week. I think they do. 27-22, probably the second best game of the weekend right here. This is one I don't want to miss. 27-22, I'm taking Tampa upset.
Yeah. And Baker has the playoff advantage over Jared, doesn't he?
Not much because he's.
That's all right. He's been in the playoffs.
Yeah, they both have.
Once.
Yeah, Jared actually went to the Super Bowl.
I Baker had a great night last night, but he even had a better night because they dropped first half. They dropped 5 or 6 passes, which 3 of them were long passes, which might have resulted in touchdowns. They should have put a 40-burger on Philadelphia easily.
Oh, I didn't watch the first half. I saw the second half.
Yeah.
By that time, the game was over.
It would have been way over if they didn't drop those passes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you wonder if that offensive firepower is just too much. And Campbell's going to have them fired up, to make their first NFC Championship appearance in 32 seasons. So for that reason, I will take the Lions.
As long as they don't have a Jimmy Johnson speech, they're okay.
Jimmy Johnson.
Listen, they haven't won a playoff
Jimmy
game.
was the most fired up person.
Yeah, they haven't won a playoff game since the 91 season. So whatever they want to say, I'm listening. They win.
I thought it was funny to watch, though. I really did.
Oh, it was.
I saw that. That was a joke.
Yeah. You can't make. I mean, you can tell Fox told him to do that. I really think they did. Yeah.
All right, the fourth game, which some are saying might be the best one, Kansas City, 12-6 at Buffalo, 12-6. Supposed to be 18 degrees in Buffalo, balmy compared to last week in Kansas City. 5:30 p.m. on CBS. Kansas City's trying to be the first team since New England to win back-to-back Super Bowls. New England did it last year, 2003-2004 season, something that's really hard to do. Kansas City's offense is 15th ranked, defense is 2nd ranked, so the offense is pretty average. And can you win a Super Bowl with defense? They used to always say, back in the 80s and 90s, defense wins Super Bowls.
Championships.
Yeah, we haven't heard that for quite a while because we've had a lot of average defenses with great offenses, including the Chiefs, win Super Bowls. So I don't know if a defense can carry a team through the Super Bowl. They played Buffalo this year already. Buffalo won the first meeting 20-17. That was the Kadarius Toney offsides penalty.
Yes.
Wiped out the touchdown from Kelsey. Buffalo had kind of an advantage that week. Isaiah Pacheco was out, and Drew Tranquil was out of that game. They're not out. They'll be there come Sunday. Derek Nottie, a defensive tackle, is questionable. Look at Buffalo's quarterback and Chiefs quarterback. They're both very similar season. Mahomes 4,100 yards. Allen had 4,300 yards. Mahomes had 27 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Allen 29 touchdowns, 18. And both of their quarterback ratings were 92 point something. So they had pretty much the same season together. You say, well, Josh Allen runs better than Mahomes. In the playoffs, Mahomes takes off where he doesn't normally during the regular season as much. He had a 52-yard touchdown run this past weekend. Josh Allen, in games that he doesn't throw an interception, he is 17-0. So if he goes up there and we don't pick off one of those passes, it's unlikely we're going to win. And Buffalo is running better than they ever have in the past years when we played them in the playoffs with James Cook. They ran for 179 yards against a pretty tough, physical Pittsburgh team. I know, Rob, you don't agree, but I think Buffalo is much more physical than they've been in previous years when we played them in the playoffs. When they played Miami in the 18th week, there were 3 Miami linebackers who couldn't finish that game, and 2 of them went to IR. And in that game against Pittsburgh, that was a very physical game. They were carrying people or walking people off the field about every few minutes. People were getting hurt. And Buffalo's amazing, too, in that if you go back to that game with Kansas City, they were 5-6. We could have driven the final nail in their coffin and made them 5-7. And even as it is, when they got down to the last weekend of the year, they still weren't sure they were going to be in the playoffs. So they have been very resilient. And it's like Buffalo has been in the playoffs for several weeks because they've had to win all those games. If I was picking with my heart, I'd pick Kansas City. If I'm picking with my mind, I'd probably pick Buffalo. But I'm putting down Kansas City. I think that defense will get it done.
The best game of the weekend right here. It's going to be the best game of the weekend. I just don't see what you guys see about this physical Buffalo team. They threw the ball, but they did not run the ball all over Pittsburgh. They didn't do it.
179 yards.
Didn't need to.
No, they didn't need to. You're right, but they were able to throw the football. If anybody stops them from throwing the football, they are screwed. They are screwed because if they have to count on Allen to win the game running, ain't happening. He's not Lamar Jackson. I think Kansas City's going to stop them from running the football. I think this is going to be one hell of a football game. It may even go to overtime. 33-30. High-scoring game. Big-time high-scoring game. I'm taking the Chiefs in overtime.
I like our corners. Snead has not had a touchdown pass thrown against him. McDuffie did get burned last week by Drake Hill. But I think our corners can match up with their wide receivers.
Yeah, and once again, not having a fair representation, of course, I mean, you're at least going to have wind chills above 0. So I'm sure that you'll see probably a bit more open on the offense for the Chiefs than you would have the past week. Plus, Mr. Rice has sort of turned himself into the go-to guy for Mahomes, for his number one receiver. And that's with trying to get McCole Hardman back in the offense. And see, my problem is that if this game gets close, then you know that the Bills can run the clock down possibly with their running game, either with Allen runs or with Cook running. So with that, in a very close game, I'll say 28-25 Bills.
Yes, one thing about Rashee Rice, Mahomes likes to go to Texas and throw to receivers even before the draft. And he invited Rice from SMU. And he kind of had in his mind, that kid went to high school, played Texas high school football. He liked that about that. So I think probably Mahomes might have had some say on them drafting Rashee Rice. And then as the season went through, about the middle of the year, Andy Reid would say that Rice was about this close. He's about this close. He said that for about two or 3 weeks in a row. And now he thinks that Rashee Rice and Mahomes thinks so too, that he was right there where he needs to be.
Gentlemen, do you know I have the officials for the weekend?
Go for it.
For the Tampa Bay Detroit game, it's going to be Bill Vinovich. Okay. For the Houston Baltimore game, probably the best referee of the bunch, John Hussey. And for the Green Bay San Francisco game, an up-and-comer, Alex Kemp. And for the game I got to talk about, and I will in a minute, it's Hockey Lee. Does that make any difference to any of you guys? Not to me.
John Hussey is one of my favorites because when he calls a penalty, he makes you feel sorry you did a penalty. He has a very authoritative voice.
Those are the 4. They have alternates, but they haven't said who they are yet. Anyway, back to the other thing. Man, what was that thing they were doing last Sunday? Oh my God, they were doing this all that second half.
The swag.
Yeah, the slide swag. That's all they were doing. The swag. They were swagging this way. Even Taylor was doing it. Oh my God. And she wasn't the one that started it. That was even funnier. And then dropping their phones so you can get a picture with Taylor and all that. Oh my God, that was they're just too funny with this. Anyway, back to the game. Best game of the weekend. Mahomes against Allen. Again, this is like Peyton. This is like Peyton and Brady. Again. You know? And it doesn't matter because both teams play in the cold weather. Kansas City's a good team. They got to learn how to catch the ball. Buffalo's got to learn how to run the ball. I just hope there's not too much violence in it. And I'm going to go 31-24 Kansas City.
Referees in the Chiefs Miami game, I think they wanted to have a fast game. And
Hey, Brian.
they were letting
I have to take off and go. I hate to cut you loose, but I got something going on.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
He was on his.
So that's we just got 4 games, and we do have a lot of openings with head coaches. There was a rumor that Atlanta's looking at Double B.
Yeah,
They interviewed him allegedly.
Have they talked yet?
Yes.
Yeah, they talked last night.
Oh, okay.
They
And
talked
we know
last night.
Harbaugh's talked to the Chargers.
Yes.
I'm waiting for Jerry to pull the trigger.
Did you read the story about Max Crosby in Vegas?
Now what?
I think I heard something about that.
He wants a trade if Antonio Pierce is not named the head coach in Vegas.
Oh, that would make sense. I can see that.
I would hate to see what the team would say if he got hired after they ran through training camp. I mean, it's a whole different bag when you've already got the training camp done. You're just running practices, and that's all you've done. Let's see what happens if he gets them through training camp.
Who, Pierce? I think Antonio Pierce is going to get the Oakland job. I think he's going to get the Oakland, the Vegas job. I can't see.
I'm not sure.
Mark Davis is cool.
Remember, this is the Davises we're talking about, and this is
I
Vegas.
know.
You possibly want something a little bit more flashy than Antonio Pierce.
So, you want flashy? Go to the strip club. You want to be flashy? Go to the strip club.
I think maybe
Jimmy Fox.
I think Crosby might have hurt Antonio Pierce's chances making a demand on the owner like that. He could always go the other way and say, "Well, we'll find somebody else,"
or we could just as easily cut you.
Yeah. I think the team that's in the toughest position is the Dallas Cowboys, because who's going to want to go to Dallas as long as Jerry's running the team? And I think that's why. I mean, I can't imagine McCarthy approving the defense that they came in against Green Bay with. It sounds like something to me like Quinn, passed that by Jerry and said, Jerry says, sounds good to me. And Quinn and McCarthy had no say in it. That's kind of my feeling. I think anybody who goes there knows that Jerry is just really heavily involved. They're not going to want that.
No.
All you have to know
it's going to be that way until he sells the team.
81. You know what that number signifies? 81. Jerry's age.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
and now
He's
with his
general manager. Holy.
would his kids be next in line if he sold the team, or do his kids want nothing to do with it?
Oh, I think Steven wants something to do with it. I think Steven does. And if they try to sell, what do you think they try to get if they try to sell the team?
Oh, it'd have to be in the
$8 billion, $10 billion.
No, they're not going to be that high.
Somebody afford to buy it?
The Broncos sold for what, $4 billion, $5 billion, or something like that.
I think the Cowboys are still the number one sports team in America.
Right.
Yeah, but it's going to be expensive if they sell.
Right, and that's it. Yeah, it's you serve two masters, or you serve the big master, and then
it's too much out of the head coach's control.
Right.
The big man. We're all waiting for it's like George Steinbrenner. Every year, my wife kept saying George Steinbrenner's dead. You know, that's the same thing they're saying about Jerry. He's dead. He's gonna drop soon.
Well, that game this past weekend probably nearly killed him.
The game was hysterical.
Oh,
I don't know who got more airtime, Jordan Love or Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
So, who is New England interviewed anybody, or are they waiting for other people to become available?
The only thing I've heard is that
Gerard Mayo, named coach. That's right.
Yeah, Belichick's sons are. I think Robert Kraft said that Belichick's sons are welcome to stay there.
Okay, so then, but I don't think Mayo will keep. He'll probably bring in his own people.
Oh yeah, Mayo's the coach.
Mayo got hired as the head coach.
Yeah, and that was worked out last year, actually. Yeah. Apparently.
Well, and then
Braybridge gets screwed.
Right, Ray will get screwed, and then also the other thing is that the Rooney Rule. You're supposed to hire you're supposed to interview one minority outside of the organization. It's like it's supposed to be an outside source, but yet they somehow got away with it because they're the Patriots and they chose within.
That's fine.
No, you're supposed to go outside of the organization.
But they also chose a minority.
When did the Patriots ever go by the rules?
Good point.
Yeah, Deflategate.
When the Chiefs played New England up there, they deflated the footballs in that game.
Yeah.
And that's the only field goal that Butker missed. He was kicking the deflated football.
That's all right. Wow. Did you see how many people watched that game Saturday?
Yeah, the streaming game?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a record for streaming of anything.
How was your luck streaming the game, Tim?
He got it for free because he's in the area.
Yeah, I was on a local channel. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right.
For us.
That serves a dangerous precedence.
Yeah.
Now you know they're never going to have the Super Bowl behind the paywall because you just can't do it because they won't get the money that they know they can get via network television.
Right. They'll freak out. The whole world will freak out.
Pretty soon you're going to have one game on Wild Card Weekend. Then it's going to be two games on Wild Card Weekend. Then it's going to be the whole Wild Card Weekend.
Yeah.
I'm like, I already have two streaming services. One I don't pay for because I have the network Max and Netflix, and I hardly watch Netflix. So what makes you think I'm going to get another streaming service that I don't watch, even if it's $5.99 a month or $20 a year?
The only streaming service left that I need to get is ESPN Plus. That's what I want to get, and they have that with Hulu in there for. It's still $10.99 a month. So
but it's you're gonna, and then bars lose out on money because they can't show the game on a streaming service.
Yep.
And they depend on bars depend on these games for business.
They do, and I heard one retired person complaining, saying that he used to be in the past he didn't have to pay for any TV service, zero. And now that he's retired, he says a quarter of his income goes to watching TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's getting too hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Those were the days. You watched everything on regular television, and then you read all your highlights and stuff in the newspaper.
Yep.
Box scores.
Box scores, huh?
Box scores, right? Box scores are stories. That's what I got. Stories.
All right. So then, let's see. So the other part is so we know that Sirianni's not likely to go. Tomlin has said that he'll come back for his final season, but to me, Tomlin's a lame duck coach unless he wins a playoff game.
Tomlin, he's lucky he didn't get fined by the No Fun League because he showed up for the press conference.
The Rooneys love consistency, and that's why he.
Oh yeah, he's staying.
But whether he stays after next year or whether he gets the Chuck Noll treatment where the team quits on him and he gets fired or he doesn't get re-signed.
So Philadelphia said they're keeping Sirianni?
Yes.
What about their coordinators?
That's going to be a whole different story, I think. This might be one of those, you don't get fired if you fire these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, because that game plan that they had, that tight end was like 30 yards open. I mean, it was ridiculous how open these guys were.
Yeah. And you let that Palmer kid run free on a screen. And then when you talk about the one pass that Evans dropped, 2 plays later, they get the guy 44 yards down the field for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So it's like
that secondary was just non-existent, and they didn't want to tackle anybody. The effort was not there, and the coverage was not there.
Like, why didn't Jason decide to just then again, he's only one person. He can't want it for them. He can go up there and scream his ass off, but he can't want it for them.
Yeah, I think he saw the handwriting on the wall.
Yeah, I think he's like, I'm too old for this crap. I got my podcast. I got TikToks I can do with the wife and the kids.
Right off Buckets just says, well, the offensive line's number 1 rated, but they can't win the game by themselves.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
No, you can't. I just hope none of these games are blowouts like this past weekend. Every single game was a blowout.
Except for one. And NBC was very happy that it was not.
Oh,
probably the one that they might have thought could be a blowout.
Oh, the Buffalo game?
No. The Detroit-LA game.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Detroit La there.
That was a very good game. That was a really
that was
a good game.
Yeah, that was the best game of the weekend with Goff and Pafford. And you see them hug it out at the end. I like that. But it's gonna. I just don't want another blowouts all weekend.
Well, is this going to be like the reverse NHL playoffs, where the good series usually happen in the beginning and towards the end, usually the kind of the meh?
Yeah, it was the meh. It was the meh already.
Yeah, so you hope that it gets you weeded out all the bad teams or all the pretenders, and now we get into the meat and potatoes of the good stuff.
The supposed contenders.
Right.
Anyway,
I think each of these games have a chance to be a good game. I most think that the Detroit-Tampa will likely be a blowout. But I think Houston might stay with Baltimore, and Green Bay might stay with San Francisco.
I don't think so at all.
Which is why the Houston gets.
No, they got too much power. They got too much. The Colts, the Ravens got too much firepower. You know, as long as OBJ is, as long as the receivers don't get hurt or nothing like that. No, the Ravens got too much power, and their running game with Dobbins and
Dobbins, he's not going to make it back. It's Edwards.
I mean, yeah, and then that young kid, and then the other young kid from Carolina. I don't remember his name.
Baltimore's got an offensive line, and then they got that 42 that can knock you on your butt too. That big fullback, 300-pound fullback that can run.
Yeah, Rickard, I think was his name. He caught a touchdown pass in the.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I just worry that game could be done early. Maybe.
I don't know why Rob doesn't think Buffalo's a physical team. When you look at a football game and you watch the Lions play and you see a bunch of people picking themselves up off the ground on every play, that's a physical football game. And when people are getting knocked out of the game and hurt, that's a physical game. And Miami, one of the reasons why the Chiefs beat Miami so easily is because they were beat up when they came here. They were cold and they were beat up.
Yeah. Now you're going to have
you got two big boy teams.
Yeah, the big question is how's Mahomes going to do on the road in a pressure situation?
He's done fine. The thing about Mahomes, he's never lost a wild card game. He's not lost a division game.
He's never done it on the road, though. That's the only difference.
Well, the Tampa game that he went into and he lost the Super Bowl at Tampa, all their offensive line was injured. They were playing with 4 backups on the offensive line. So that was a problem. And their plan for that was just play faster. It didn't work. It was just a bad plan. And then Cincinnati, they knew how to play us. They beat us. And then the one game we lost to New England, that's when D4 had lined up offsides. Kansas City had that game in the bag until D4 lined up offsides, and then we lost it. So I think he'll go on the road and be okay as far as the road goes. Just like Buffalo comes here every year and gives us a tough game here.
Okay, we'll see. We shall see. We shall see.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
I know.
All right, I think we've probably gone on long enough. We're going to cut the stream here. You guys are welcome to stay on with me afterwards.
Yeah, you guys
thanks
have a
for
good
joining.
rest of the week. I got to get better.
Yeah.
Bye. Achoo! Achoo!